Started. All right, we are recording. So, guys, I'm so excited for this Wednesday's Zoom, and I've got to take my glasses off because I cannot stand that glare. It's like ADHD.
It was nice meeting you. It was awesome.
Oh, if you guys have a phone, your phones, if you could just hit mute on your line, that would be great because it'll pop up every randomly. And unmute yourself. So just mute your phones if you're on your phone, and if you are on, the Zoom app, it should let me mute you. But anyways, I'm excited for this Wednesday's Zoom because we're going to go over a couple things and we're going to also have tips for you guys. We're going to share a few stories and talk about, here's the thing, guys. Since I've been part of Lavelle, I did grow very rapidly, but what I want a lot of people to know is that I did not grow super rapid in my first adventure. And I'm going to share a little bit about my story to kind of start us off. For those of you guys that don't know me, I'm Amanda Arnott, and I live in Fairmont, West Virginia. So I live in a pretty small town. It's not exactly the land of opportunity at all. And I was working at the time that I joined network marketing. To give you a little background on myself, I, had gone to school multiple times, and I'd always been kind of like a little busybody. I buried myself in student loan debt, getting my nursing degree and my sociology degree. By the time I graduated college, I literally was already $80,000 in student loan debt. We bought our house. You add another, $130,000 onto that. That's over $200,000 in debt. Add your cars. We're looking at $300,000 in debt. And credit cards and everything else. And I was working full time. I had a 1-year-old, and let's see, I think Layla, at the time I started, was probably like 10. Well, no, I'm talking about whenever I started network marketing. It'll be 5 years in March that I was introduced to this industry. But before, I joined network marketing, my life looked a little something like this. I worked every weekend. And I'd go to work at 6:00 in the evening, and I'd get home at 7:30, 8:00 every single weekend of my life. I would normally work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes I would work Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. But then I also worked an optional part-time job where I was picking up 2, sometimes 3 days a week. So sometimes I would do a 5-night stretch, and I would go to work, like I said, at like 6 and get home around 8:00 every day. My husband would be literally walking out the door as I was coming in. And at the time, we couldn't afford childcare. We made too much money for that, too much money to get any kind of assistance, too much money to be able to default my loans or anything like that. Some of them I was able to put on forbearance, which meant that I was just going to owe more money later because interest was going to keep on accruing. But my student loans were like $1,000 a month. So basically, I was just going in the negative. We were going in the negative, and we thought we did everything right. We didn't buy a super expensive house. We had 2 cars that were, they were good cars, but they definitely needed work from time to time, and tires and stuff. We live in a very a climate where the weather truly is the season. And, in winter you get snow and you have to get winter tires, and they're not cheap. You have to have a 4-wheel drive car, which means that you pay more in gas. Your electric bill and your gas bills are higher because it's cold, and I'll just tell you guys, that's what my husband was just running off to our daughter, who's 14, that has no idea what it's like to be an adult and what adult bills are like, right? So my husband was working full time. I was working full time. And actually, he had to take a job closer to home that wasn't paying quite as well. We had health benefits and all that good stuff, but we literally, our car on January, I think 4th, of 2013, as my neighbor and I were pulling into our house. You know how Christmas is, guys. You put off all your bills and you do Christmas for your family. Well, that Christmas, we just put off one too many times our car payment. And on January 4th, 2013, I had to watch my car be repossessed in my driveway, in front of my kids. And here we are, like, working and never seeing each other and not seeing our kids ever. And it was just honestly at that point in time where I was like, something has got to give. Like, we are not ever seeing each other, and life was crazy. I had no clue that literally 2 months later, that, network marketing would be introduced to me. And it was introduced to me by my mom. I can actually remember I was off. We had just got our income tax check return, which I want to encourage you guys to know that a lot of people that are struggling right now that are going to get their income tax returns, what you do right now is going to prepare you for what's to come 2018. Okay. So anyways, I had just gotten my income tax return. We got caught up on a lot of our house payments. We were able to get caught up on a lot of our bills. We probably had $500 extra in the bank at the time. And literally it was going to be spent. It was going to be spent really, really quickly before we even got like our next pay. But my mom messaged me one night and said, listen, your cousin's doing this business, and she is working from home full-time, making a full-time income. She earned a $10,000 bonus. And, I just think that maybe you would be interested in this so you didn't have to work all the time. And I was like, what? Because honestly, guys, before that point, I really never thought that there was any money in direct sales. In fact, I really didn't even know what direct sales was. I mean, I bought makeup and different things from friends, but I really didn't know anything about this industry at all. Like, I legit remember Googling what network marketing was. I remember Googling when people asked me if it was a pyramid scheme. I was like, what's a pyramid scheme? Like, I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't even know what really direct sales meant. I didn't know any of that stuff, but I knew that if other people could do it, then why couldn't I? So I talked to my husband, and it was probably 24 hours later after I reached out to, it was my cousin that my mom introduced me to. So I talked to my husband and I said, listen, I was like, if I order this and this, and there was like this startup kit that you could get, and I could make my money back if I sold the stuff that was in the kit. And I was like, okay, we would make our money back. And guess what? It made me hustle. It made me hustle so much because I needed that money back in my pockets, right? So I did exactly what my cousin told me to do. She said, just start talking about it, tell people that you have it, be excited about it, share it with everybody. And I did. And I'm going to tell you guys, I did it all the wrong ways. I did it all the wrong ways. I totally blasted it like nonstop. I became a, what you want to call it, chronic poster. I over posted. I was just like in your face, like all the time. I sold lots of that product. I'm not going to mention the product, but I sold lots of that product, individual priced, just like, our 3-day minis. And I was able to get caught up on some of my bills and make a couple extra $100 a month. And, I was hustling though. I was talking to everybody that I possibly could. I kind of beat myself up because I was seeing like lots of people promote and go through these ranks. And I was like, okay, I hit my first promotion. It was like 3 months later, right? Like, I hit my first promotion. Yay. I was so excited. But I was working still full time. And fast forward about another 3 months, I finally got to go to like a local, an event. It was a couple of hours away. I was able to get a Saturday off, and I drove up to Pittsburgh, and I went to that event, and I sat in that room. and people were talking about their goals. They were talking about making 5 figures a month. And I was like, whoa, Horsey, what? 5 figures a month? Like, this girl was talking about how she had worked at Walmart and she was, getting government assistance. And then, now she was a 5 figure earner. And I'm like, okay, what'd you do? Like, I'm listening, and I was just incredibly inspired at that event. And they were talking about this upcoming conference and all this stuff. And I was like, there's no way that I could go. There's just no way. Like, I've never been anywhere by myself. I've never flown. I've never done this. How could I afford it? But here's what happened. I left there and everybody was talking about their goals, guys. And I'm going to tell you, it's no coincidence that people that reach their goals are surrounded by people that talk about their goals, okay? And the reason for that is because when everybody around you is aiming for a goal, when everybody around you has the same plan and action and intention, then that's going to rub off on you, okay? When people go to events, when people, you see them posting, you see them plugging into calls, you see them attending online events, you see them reaching those free credits, all those things. When you surround yourself with those kind of people, that's what's going to happen. So I went home and I set my goal for that next rank for that month. And I needed a lot to happen for it to happen, but I did. I promoted for the second time at about my 6-month mark. About 3 months later, it was winter time, and it was actually November, and a lot of people were very distracted, but I was very focused because I had purchased a ticket to go to conference. And my only way to pay for me going to that conference, and our tickets were kind of expensive, was to make payment plan. So I had to make enough money to do that, okay? And then I needed to be able to pay for a flight. So it was like, okay, I've got to hustle and I need to sell this many of these $25 things so that I'll have money to pay for my flight. And then it was the hotel. And then it was like, okay, who could I share a room with? It was like I was always fighting for a goal. And because of that, my team was also fighting for goals, right? So what happened is that when everybody else was like asleep in the business, like literally, just like there's a lot of people asleep right now, okay? I literally promoted to my third highest rank, which was just making a little under $1,000 extra a month, okay? And I really had my eyes set on that next rank that was going to put me over $1,000 extra a month, and what could that do for my family? And I was going to this conference for the first time, and I said, when I went to conference a couple months later, which was in January of 2014, so I had been in the industry and in the company at that point in time for 10 months. And on month 11, I hit that goal. And guys, I missed it. They had hung that $10,000 bonus that I was talking about over my head like 3 different times before I finally reached that carrot. And I finally got there, right? But it was after I sat in a room with over 10,000 people and I saw it possible. I remember plain as day sitting there in that conference center and somebody on that stage talking about how last year they were at the 4K rank, and they were now at the second to highest rank in the company, and they were one of the top 100 leaders. Like, they were making like in the top 100. And I remember sitting at story and just having chills down my spine, like, this can be us. Like, we can do this, And they dangled these bonuses in front of our face in January of that year. And it was, if you get to this rank, you get a $10,000 bonus. If you get to this rank, you get a $15,000 bonus. If you get to this rank, you get a 25 and 50. And anyways, guys, I needed that. My family needed that. The people on my team needed that. And it was literally, I went out of there and that next month I hit it. I got that $10,000 bonus. But guess what? I knew that people on my team, they needed it too. So somebody else needed to hit. Oh, somebody mute themselves. I knew that somebody on my team needed to get that as well. And it's not letting me see who's talking. Hold on. I don't know. They might have got themselves. But anyways, so that next month, one of my leaders got that $10,000 bonus, and I got a $15,000 bonus. And the very next month, my leader got a $15,000 bonus, and two more of my leaders got $1,000 bonus, and I got a $25,000 bonus. And like, there were multiple people making $500 extra a month at that point, which was a lot of their goals. And it was an exciting time. And honestly, at that point in times when I realized, like, I could come home and I could work casually. I didn't have to work full time at the time. My husband did, and we were able to switch insurance to him, but we were able to get ahead a little bit. I want to fast forward my story a little bit for you, because I stayed at that rank for the next year. And the following year, I kept on doing the exact same things, guys. I kept on going to events. I kept on plugging into calls. I kept on growing myself, learning different things. Like, when people were telling me not to go to Instagram, I went to Instagram and I did stuff outside the box. Right now, throughout your journey, you're going to find different things that you're going to go and you're going to do and you're going to try. Then maybe you're going to be the first person that tries it. It's that out of box thinking, guys, that is going to make you grow the most. So that next year, I ended up promoting to the second highest rank in the company. And at that point in time, I was able to bring my husband home. But one very, very critical thing happened that I was able to do, and it was a very big why of mine, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, my why up to that point had been, first, being able to get out of debt, okay? Even though I wasn't completely out of debt, just to not be stressed. And then my why became to be able to come home, okay? So that I could actually spend the summer with my girls and have more time with my family and not be passing my husband, going in and out of work. And then my why became bringing him home and being able to spend, like, him being able to go to concerts and be able to be with our kids. And then my why became, and this is a very touchy topic for me, so I'm going to try not to cry for you guys, but to be able to help my dad. He was living on SSI, and his roommate had passed away about 6 months earlier, and my dad had lived a pretty rough life. For those of you guys that don't know, SSI is literally like about $700 a month. Okay. He was a proud man. He wouldn't get any type of assistance. He wouldn't get any type of help. He wouldn't apply for HUD or anything else because he was afraid he'd take away from somebody else. So, anyways, my why became to bring my dad closer to me so that he wouldn't be sick all the time because of the way he lived. He didn't eat all the time. He would binge drink sometimes. My girls really didn't get to know him. And like, I'm a daddy's girl. Like, I grew up with my dad, like, by my side, So I found a little apartment. He had a stroke in May of 2015. They thought it was a stroke and he had to go to a rehabilitation center. But when he came out, he wasn't going to have a place to live because he was being evicted. And I looked high and low, and I pulled into the gas station, and there was this little apartment that he could use his walker and he could go to the gas station. So he was able to move around a little bit with a walker, and he was able to get around this 1-story apartment that didn't cost too much money, but I was able to pay his rent, and I was able to pay his bills every month. And that was my why. And he was able to come to my daughter's Christmas concert that year. And yeah, so fast forward, in February 2016, I flew off to Florida and went to conference again, just like I had the years before, and all these amazing things had happened, okay? I didn't know it when I was flying out what my why was going to be. But on my way there, I got a call that my dad was in the hospital at the time, and he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Well, they didn't know if it was stage 3 or stage 4 at the time, but over the course of me being in Florida, he was going to be having multiple surgeries, put on a heavy-duty medication, and when I came home, I was going to have to stay with him and take care of him, and the diagnosis was terminal. And it we didn't know how long we had, So I came home, and literally for 6 months, I took care of him. I took care of his medicine. I ran my business. I tried to be there for my family as much as I could. I took him to and from appointments in Morgantown, which is about 45 minutes away. I made his breakfast. I counted his pills. I worked his stomach pump. I sat in the chemo room, praying, seeing him struggle. And then he passed away. And my dad had no life insurance. And I had to do something that I feared all my life, which was, losing my dad and paying for his, funeral and stuff. And at the same time, my business kind of was not in a good place. Things were not going the best. And I was working nonstop, and, it is what it is. But anyways, in November 2017 or 2016, I was in a severe depression, and I had gone back to working full time as a nurse, which was extremely hard to do. I did it because multiple reasons, because I had dropped a lot in income, and I was mentally just not in a good place. So I went back to working full time as a nurse. But after losing somebody like that and taking care of them, it wasn't the same, and it was really hard going back into the nursing field, because I work cardiac care, and I'm one of those people that it really weighs heavy. Sorry, my eyes are like filling up with tears. But in January, let's fast forward for a second. In January, I got on the phone on a 3-way call, which I never did 3-way calls in my previous business at all. But this is why 3-way calls are so powerful. I was depressed. I was sleeping maybe 2-3 hours a night. And I knew that I had to do something. And what I heard on that phone conversation, I knew I wanted to be part of it. I knew that if it worked for me, that it would change my family's life. Okay. I knew it would change my life. And I remember being on that phone conversation and telling old Jamie Pekka, God, I hate you. I'm like, I swear I never thought that I would be saying yes to trying this. And I'll tell you what, if this does what you guys are saying it's going to do, then we are going to the top of this company, and I'm getting the hell out of this job, and I'm bringing my husband back home, and it's going to be so much better, and we're going to help so many more people than we've ever helped in our lives. And you guys, I know some of you guys think, oh yeah, she came over here with a network, but I'm going to tell you, nobody knew that I was leaving. Nobody knew that I was leaving my company when I decided to walk away. I wasn't a ranking presidential. Oops, I said the company like what I was. But anyways, I wasn't ranking at the time. I had dropped. I was tired of faking it till you make it type of thing. I was tired of going day in, day out, and people struggling and pretending everything was okay and working nonstop. The thing is, guys, I saw an opportunity of a lifetime to get into a company that was still young, that had a product that would make me feel amazing. And it did. Day one, I was a day one thriver. And I got to tell you, I was happy. I was in a good mood. I was excited to talk about it. I was like, it was combust. Like I wanted to combust. January 14th, 2017 was a life changer, and I have been thriving every day except for a couple days. The day I came home from Quebec, and one of the days in between my shipment getting there was the day that literally changed everything. And that was the day that I decided that I was going to sign up the very next 24 hours, not even 24 hours later, that I was going to sign up and be a promoter with Lavelle. And I just ran, and my goals were literally to be able to bring myself home, to be able to bring my husband home, to be able to have people alongside me succeeding, and more people just growing like wildfire, and people to just thrive and feel amazing and kids to have their parents back and so forth. So I want every single one of you guys and I want everybody to realize that me going quickly in this, it was because I had the strongest why. I had every hurdle along the way that was like trying to stop me, and it was like the devil popping his head in. Just even last week, I had a friend of mine who was one of my very best friends, post on my timeline because I didn't send her a birthday gift, but she saw me sending gifts to people on my team, and that hurt me. It kind of like made me still, and I was like, oh my gosh, are people thinking like I'm something I'm not? And I want you guys to realize people are going to make their own assumptions about you. People are going to judge you. People are going to see you hustling. And guess what? That's intimidating for them because maybe they're not willing to put in that work. Okay. I see people out there busting their tail. And I got to tell you, the people that I see, because I'm plugged in. I was pretty quiet over the last week. I was going through some personal things, and I got to tell you, it affected my entire team. But then I looked up and I seen, and I started my eyes focused in on those people that had that drive. People like Stacy, I can't even say her last name. I'm not going to say it, Stacy, because I will tear it up. Stephanie, all these people, guys, that I see are completing these challenges and doing this crazy stuff. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I need to be doing that, and I need to be busting my butt. And guess what? I talked to a girl today that is joining me here in just a couple of days that has such a strong why. She's such a fighter, and she's gone through crazy stuff, but I made that connection talking on the phone. I talked to her for probably an hour and a half on the phone. And guys, I'll tell you what, I would rather help 1 or 2 people every month hit VIP 800, have success in this business, help customers thrive for free. That's where my focus is. Then recruit 1,000 people. Okay. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help people be successful. And I want the people that join us to have success. And I want to see my friends succeed. I want to see you all succeed. That's why we're on here right now. And as you guys can tell, I am very long-winded. So I need to pass this on to somebody else because I'm going to keep on talking if I don't. Let's see. I'm sorry. I keep on talking. Where is Danny, Jade, and Nikki? Who wants to go? Danny, you want to go first? I see you.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Danny Springett, and tell you a little bit about my story. I unexpectedly became a single mom, and I didn't know what to do because I was a stay-at-home mom since 2008, so that's basically all I knew. And it had been, so that was about 3 years ago, so it's been about 6 years I was a stay-at-home mom. And the thought of me going back to work was pretty scary because I was in retail. I was in retail management before I became a stay-at-home mom. And if you've been in retail, you know that your hours are, you have to have open availability. You have to work nights and weekends. And as a single mom, how do you make that work? Trying to find not only daycare during the day, but someone to watch your children at night and on weekends. And I kind of like, looked at the numbers, and it wasn't financially right for me to go back to work. So out of the house. So I was looking into other areas, and I kind of like was looking into other different direct selling companies, and nothing really seemed right. And a girlfriend of mine introduced me to my previous company, and she was a stay-at-home mom. I'd known her for like 10 years, and she had a lot of success, and she really kind of sold me on the idea because it was something I was really passionate about. And so I started, and within a couple months I promoted, and I kind of stood still a little bit, and for a few months, and I was as a single mom, I was on government assistance, I was on food stamps, I was getting $300 a month on food stamps for the 3 of us. I was getting HEAP, which is assistance on your heating and electricity. And then I was seeing Mark at the time we had different, we're living in different places, but he was paying my bills. My mom was paying my bills. I'm like, I'm 35 years old. I shouldn't be having all these people pay my bills for me. So I really went full force into this network marketing business. And I was going through a really bad depression with the breakup of my marriage and my financial struggles. So I was really excited to really kind of just be a part of something again, and that wasn't just just surrounded my kids. And just, I was talking to adults again, and I was part of a team. It was really exciting. And a few months in, I went to a local here, and I met so many amazing people, and it really got us pumped. And Mark came with me, and like we really saw the vision, and I was so pumped. And I met Jamie Pekka there, and we became Facebook friends. And so I didn't promote again until about March of the following year, right after we went to conference. We were always told that you make it to conference, it'll change your business. And I double promoted the next month, which was amazing. But I was still struggling. I hit bonuses that I only had for 2 months, and then I lost. And I was able to get off food stamps and other government assistance programs because of it. But I was just making just enough to not qualify for those programs, but I wasn't making enough to survive. And with the requirements that they had, that you had, for your website fee and, auto ships that you had to have each month, I was actually paying them to run my business. And I was working so hard. And from the time my kids got on the bus to the time, midnight, I was up till midnight, and I was being told, put your phone down. And I just knew that I had to work so hard to, make it for my kids. My kids were my why. I was always tired of telling them, no, we can't, sign you up for this. No, I can't buy you that. And I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to give them what they wanted and what they needed. And so after about a year of me just struggling, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to give it one last try, because the conference I went to the previous year, it was amazing. I was so pumped. I was excited. I told Mark, I said, you need to come with me next year. And it was this past February, him and I went, and we left there disappointed. And I knew then I had doubts, and I knew that I needed something different, something to get my passion going again. And, and just where I didn't need to work for, 18 hours a day to not make my ends meet, to help my children, for my why. And so about 2 months or so, no, about a month after conference, I started seeing, for a while I started seeing Jamie Pekka's posts, and I knew that she had left our previous company. And we're always told unfriend and block, and for some reason I just never did that when I knew she left. I just kept following her, and she was talking about this this crazy patch, or DFT and the Thrive experience, and I'm just like, whatever. So finally I just messaged her one day, and I said, okay, I'm never going to leave my company. I'm a lifer, and but I need to hear your spiel. So we FaceTimed, and she gave me, she sat down with Mark and I and told us everything, and we were blown away. And I was just telling her how I was feeling, and that was a lot of what I was telling her was the first time Mark had even heard that, because I didn't tell him my didn't share with him my doubts and my confusion and my concerns because I felt like I was going to let him down and let our family down because, I wanted this so bad for us. And I just felt like if I shared my doubts that I was letting us down. So when I was telling, Jamie all of that, she really understood, and she, was very, you know, sympathetic to everything, and she just laid everything out there. And Mark and I had to give it a couple of days. So we prayed and we talked, and, it took us a few days to really grasp the idea of switching companies because it's so scary. It really is. And I'm like, okay, we're going to be starting over again. But ultimately, we didn't have anything to lose because we weren't making any money. And I was working so hard to not make any money. So we're like, what do we have to lose? Let's go for it. We jumped all in. And, I hit 4K in 17 days. I hit 12K with my auto bonus in 28 days. And then I went 40K in 3 months. And when I say this has changed my life, you have no idea how much this has changed our lives. There's been times where I've, in 1 week, have brought home more than Mark has brought home in 3 weeks combined. I know he hates me telling that story, but it's really changed our lives to where we have caught up on our bills. We're getting out of debt. I've never owned a home in my entire life. I'm going to be 40 in May, and I've never owned my own home. I've always rented, and we close on our house in January 31st. So that's a huge deal for us and for me. And it's just been a blessing. This whole experience, the people I've met, it's just been such a blessing to us. I've made so many amazing friendships and connections, and I can't say enough about this company and the people I just talk to every day and work with every day. We feel better, and like you, Amanda, both of us were a day one thriver. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So we were like, okay, we're just gonna give this a try. We want this to work, right? We really wanted this to work because we put all of our chips in, and we're like, okay, we want this to work, and we got our product day one. Within about an hour, Mark went to work, I stayed home to work, and I'm messaging him, and I'm like, do you feel anything? Because I just thought, because I wanted it to work so bad that I was like willing it to work. So he's like, yeah, do you? I'm like, yeah. So both of us were day one thrivers. We felt amazing energy right off the bat. And, I was a napper. I napped every day. I set my alarm clock for 3:00 so I would be up and looked like I wasn't sleeping all day before my kids got off the bus. And I can say now that I don't nap. I don't nap at all. I have energy for my kids. Yes, I still work a lot, but it's not, I know that when I put my phone down, I don't have guilt of not being on my phone or not posting or, my notifications might go off, but I know that they'll be there when I pick it back up because I'm spending time with my kids. And everything about this whole experience has just been so amazing and a blessing to us. So that's my story.
What would be the one tip that you would give everybody, just knowing what you know now, okay? If you had known at the beginning, or even when you were going through like periods of like doubt or periods of rough patches, like what would be the one tip that you would give people?
Well, just being consistent and, pushing through. I know that when I think we all have doubt all the time. We doubt every aspect of our life. But with this business, it's I have had a lot less doubt, but I know that, there's going to be ups and downs. And if we just keep being consistent and pushing through, and, you got to really feel it out. Like maybe one thing isn't working for you. So connect with someone that's, someone might be doing something different. Connect with them, see if that will work. Because I know that when I started, I hate doing lives. I hated them. And when I really got out of my own way and started doing lives, and it really changed my business. And because I would watch other people's lives, and there'd just be, a lot of interaction, and they're like, you have to do a live, you have to do a live. And I'm like, ah.
I
So
went live today as Santa, so it's all good.
Yeah, and you got to do stuff like that. You got to make yourself silly sometimes. You have to look human, and you're human. Everybody is. What do you have that someone can relate to? Like,
You hit a
I know,
key word right there. People relate to, guys. People need to relate to you, and people are going to join you before they join a business. Okay,
exactly.
They're going to join you before they try a product. They're going to have to trust you in order to want to try something.
Absolutely. Like I like makeup, so I'll do makeup videos, or I'll do, videos with my kids, and just something that's relatable. And if I know, just what's going on in your life at the time, because someone might be going through the same thing.
Right.
So I always try to be as relatable as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing tonight, hon.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. We're going to have, where's Nikki? Nikki, you want to go ahead and go?
Hey, I'm here. Sure.
Yay. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let you tell, tell your story. And you guys, I'm sorry if this ends up being longer, because I know I'm very long-winded, and these stories are amazing though. And this time of the year, I think it's so important. And, I'm not going to give Nikki's story away, but I'm just going to tell you, this really is going to hit home for some of you guys. Okay. So Nikki, with that said, go ahead.
All right. Okay, guys. So I want you to think back why you joined network marketing to begin with. For a lot of us, including myself, it's not something that one day we just woke up and said, hey, I think I'm going to do a home-based business and, see if this works. 5 years ago, my life was very different than it is now. We were drowning in debt, which I think is the common factor with most everybody that's on here. My husband was a subcontractor, worked on the road all week long, only home on the weekends. I was home with 3 kids. The youngest at the time was a little over a year, and he's 6 now, almost 7. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and we were also on WIC and on food stamps. We had electrical bill assistance like a couple times a year. They had an allowance. So we saved it until in the winter months when the electric bills went up. Had I known what I know now, you guys, the month before I joined a network marketing company, my water was cut off over a $25 bill that I couldn't pay. Had I known then what I know now, I don't know if I said that backwards, I would have jumped into something like this a whole lot sooner. I too was with a different company. It was actually my 3rd company. This is actually technically my 4th company. But numbers 1 and 2 didn't last very long, and I wasn't successful in them for many reasons, which I think is something to speak about. And then I don't really normally ever put this in part of my story, but I remember being in my very first business, which I'm still a customer of today, funny enough. But I worked it as a promoter type thing. I remember getting on calls and them always saying, don't say too much to a potential, make sure you ask your, sponsor for help in the conversation. And me being at that time thinking I knew everything, I never listened to anything that those people that were successful on the other other end of the phone. I never listened to what they said. I always just said whatever I wanted. Whatever I thought was best, and basically word vomited. Now I know what I was doing. I never asked for help thinking I knew it all or thinking I didn't want to bother anybody. Okay, guys, those are the two things that are going to kill your business so fast. Like faster than you came in, it's going to kill your business. Number one, ask for help. Always ask your sponsor. I even tell my team, don't answer a question. If somebody asks a question to you, screenshot it, put it in the group message, shoot it to your upline, and let them give you a response back. Even if you think you know what you're going to say, if you take your thoughts out of the equation, usually somebody else is going to say it because they don't have any vested interest in that person signing or not signing. They're going to say it more simply and give the facts without word vomiting, right? So that's what my team a lot has learned is in previous companies, this is what they did. So a lot of them that moved over here with me, they still do it. And I love it. I never mind helping, but they screenshot the conversation or they'll send over the question and they'll say, hey, so-and-so asked this. And I'll give them a response. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so much more simple than what I was going to say. And I'm like, yeah, because I do the same thing with my own potentials. I want to word vomit still 5 years into this industry. But if I just sit there and edit things down, it helps. So, two key tips is ask for help. And don't feel like you're bothering your upline because you're totally not. We want to help. We want you to succeed more than we want ourselves to succeed, because that's why we came into this. But anyways, back to my story. 5 years ago, my husband worked out on the road. We were drowning, you guys. I mean, drowning is an understatement. We were about to lose our house. I had the foreclosure letter sitting on my counter. We had just a couple of weeks to make some small, now looking back, it's small, but when it's sitting in your face, it's a mountain that you have to climb. It was several $100s of fees to keep us from going into foreclosure over the next month. It was Christmas time. It was this time of year, you guys. I just celebrated my 5th year in network marketing a couple days ago. So, you can imagine how stressful this time of year is for so many people. Like Amanda, we were putting bills off, all this other stuff. So, this previous company actually just kind of fell in my lap. I was praying for something. I was praying for God to give me some third shift jobs, just, long story short. And network marketing kind of fell in my lap. I was desperate. So I know a lot of you on this Zoom or on maybe people on your team are desperate to make something like this work in their lives. And I'm here to tell you, if you're desperate, work your business not in a place of desperation, because then you come off desperate or you come off pushy because you're trying so hard, but keep that internalized in you of how bad you need this to work, and then put that effort behind it. That company did give us a lot of blessings. We went to from negative checking account to multiple 4 figures a month within, I don't know, I want to say 4 months. And being in that company, it was just laser focused, running with all get out. I had 300 people on my Facebook friends list, so I didn't have a network. In fact, the funny thing is I had close to 1,000 people on my Facebook, and a couple months before I joined the last company, I was like, I don't need all those people on my Facebook. And I went through and took out all the people that I wasn't connected with on a daily basis. And I was like, oh, looking back now, I'm like, why did you do that? But I had no idea something was going to come into my life. But my faith, I'm a Christian. And so I fully believe that God put me through those steps of taking people off my Facebook. So I had to rely on him and for him to put, those people in my path. So with that being said, I got to a rank that was multiple 4 figures a month, several months into my business. And then I sat there, you guys, for 19 months before promoting again. So I just have to tell you, if things aren't moving, like you expected them to. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Don't stop. Especially this time of year, you guys. I joined my last company in December, y'all, and I profited almost $1,000 between cash and commissions that month, before the end of the year, before the end, like what is it, like 3 weeks into that business, because I was just so laser focused on what needed to happen. So people do join in this time of year. A lot of people are finishing up with their Christmas shopping, so now they can focus on themselves. They're working on their New Year's resolutions. Tax time is going to be coming up. One thing I've been working very intentional the last several weeks is just adding people to my network. While I may not have, as many people coming in this month as I normally do, one thing I'm doing is I'm taking those steps and action steps to make sure that my business is moving in a forward direction. So when January 1st hits and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be like a size 0 in 2 months kind of thing, and they're all on this health kick and they're all ready to go to the gym and everything else, I'm going to be that person that's in their news feed when they think, I need to get healthy, I want to lose weight, things like that. So I've taken my posts on my page and I've taken a lot of the advertising out and a lot of the intentional business building, friendship building things and putting those out there. And the cool thing is the people I'm adding to my list, it's not just me going through like friends of friends and going add. It's truly people that I'm connected with in some way, shape, or form. So maybe they were moms in a homeschooling group that I was in. We used to homeschool. My kids went back to school this year for the first time. Or maybe my daughter does pageants. So I've met a lot of like pageant moms and just different things like that. So I'm meeting people that I have a connection with already. And so I can already have a conversation because we're connected some way, shape, or form. So that relationship is building. So right now I'm really focused on that. I think the other day, like, how Facebook puts those little banners at the top, I had already made 30 something friends this month in the month of December alone. So that's 30 brand new people that have no idea what I do for a living. We just started going to a new church a few weeks ago. So all those people are being added to my Facebook friends list. And they ask me all the time. In fact, they asked me tonight at dinner, what I do for a living, what do I do during the day, while the kids are at school. So I was actually able to share without spewing business all over them, that I work from home and, I own a part of a health and wellness business and things like that. So it piqued interest that way. So, I want you guys to realize that everybody has their own journey. Work your business because of your why, and don't let your why get in the way. I very easily 5 years ago could have said, I don't have any money, so I can't buy product. I don't have any money, so I can't do this. I don't have any money, so I can't do that. Or I don't have enough people on my Facebook friends list, or, I don't know this many people, or I don't know that many people. I live in a super small town, y'all. My town has like 1,900 people in it. I mean, it's teeny tiny. I live in one of the poorest, if not the poorest county in the entire state of Tennessee. So I could have let all these things become reasons why I didn't work my business, but instead I found ways to work it and get creative and meet people over Facebook and, all over the country and just different things like that. You are going to succeed if you just keep going and you just keep learning, getting on things like this, hearing different people's stories, realizing that you're no different than anybody else, that you can do this. The really cool thing is, I don't know if you guys have ever read The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. He's like one of my favorite authors. It's like my hands down, probably my favorite book ever. It totally changed my spiritual life as well as my business life, my business success, I should say. That book did. So if you haven't read it, it's amazing. But the church that I'm going to tonight, we finished up a series that he was doing as a Bible study, and it's called All In, and he wrote a book too. So I'm super excited to get started on that. But it was saying basically it was saying like to be all in. A man that he was talking about in history took his people on a boat and dropped, they got off the boat and they were going into battle, and the population was like 7,500 to 1, basically, is what the odds that they were up against. But they got off the boat and he turned to his soldiers and he said, burn the boats. And basically what that meant was, and what he was explaining, is that you're either going to be all in, or the book was The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. But you're going to be all in. There was no plan B. It was plan A. And plan A was get off the boat. You're going into battle. Burn the boat, burn the transportation that got you there, burn everything in the past, and move forward. You're going to do this. And they won that battle. And so it was kind of cool, like sitting there thinking of how that relates to our business, is that you guys have joined this business. You didn't join this business to watch your dreams go down the drain. Okay. You didn't join this business to say, I need an extra $500 a month to never meet that goal. So you've got to burn the boat. You got to burn all the excuses and all of the, reasons that got you here. And you have to just go face first into this battle. And, so I thought that was really cool and I wanted to share that. But you guys have to realize that in our previous company, and I know I'm kind of flip-flopping back and forth between here and there, but we saw a ton of success, you guys. I went from making zero money to making multiple 5 figures a month, and then losing all of that. So I learned a lot, and I feel like I was able to learn that. So pieces of advice is, when you do start making a ton of money in this business, be smart with it. Pay things off, get out of debt, don't go into some crazy debt, things like that. That was one thing that we learned from our mistakes. But it made us stronger, to where we could lead our team with knowledge. When we came over here to Lavelle, I was one of those people, like Danny was saying, like I blocked and block and delete, right? Or delete and block. I actually did block Amanda and Jamie both when they left our previous company. They were my friends, and I was like, how dare you leave? The golden egg is what I thought we had. And I didn't really realize that at the time. I didn't realize that you guys don't keep your same job from the age of 15 or 16 until the age of retirement, more than likely. Very few people do. You don't keep your same car. Your vehicles change, your jobs change, your churches change, your family changes, different things change throughout your life. Everything changes. And while you may have a great vehicle that gets you from point A to point B, something else might need to take you to point C. And there's a time where you have to realize that I had to realize that there was something else. And so I unblocked Jamie and Amanda, and I reached out to them, and I could, like Danny, I could not believe what I was hearing. You guys take this word of advice from the 3 of us that have already talked tonight. You are in something and part of a company that is incredible, and it can give you so many amazing things. So do what you can to figure out how to market your product, how to market yourself. People buy people, they don't buy products, right? So always be personal developing, but take it from somebody who has had nothing and has grown in this industry, and realize that you do have a gift and that you're not here by accident. Something I heard somebody say, and I want to share this with you really quick. What time is it? I'm going to stop talking in just a second, but I want everybody to close their eyes and think of something. And I'm going to butcher this little example, I'm sure, of the way she did it, because she did it so well, but I want you guys to just imagine this with me. So you close your eyes and pretend that you are standing on top of a tall skyscraper. Let's say you're in downtown New York City. Okay. And on top of this tall skyscraper, you're on one of these areas that has trees planted on top, and there's benches, and it's a place where people that live in that building can, hang out, right? Because you can't necessarily hang out on the streets. So it's their little park on top of the building. And you have your eyes closed, so you're imagining this, right? You can hear the cars going by down below. You can hear the sirens. Maybe you can hear people's phones buzzing or text messages going off. You can hear all these things of the city, right? So I want you to, and your eyes are closed in the physical, but I want you to imagine that you're seeing these things. You look out, what do you see? Okay, so it's nighttime. Are you seeing the city lights? Are you seeing the building lights? Are you hearing ambulances and sirens? I want you to walk over to the edge of that building. All right, and I'm afraid of heights, so I don't know if you are too. So you might even be feeling like in the pit of your stomach, oh my gosh, like the edge of the building, right? So walk over to the edge of the building. There's a railing there, so no worries. So you go walk straight over to the edge of the railing and you put your hands on the railing. And I want you to look down. How many stories up are you? I mean, you might be 5 stories up. You might be 105 stories up, right? You're looking down. There's people down there. It's Christmas time. Maybe there's snow on the ground because you're in New York and it's super cold there. You have, gloves on and a coat, right? Okay, so you can imagine all of these things. And if you're afraid of heights like I am, you probably have this big knot in your stomach. I want you to go ahead and back up from the side of that building and go back over to where the benches are and back over to where your friends are standing, and you can open your eyes. How many of you, and I'm on my phone so I can't see, you may have to put it in the chat, how many of you could actually physically see those things in your mind? How many of you felt like you were in that downtown area on top of a skyscraper, looking down, hearing those city sights and sounds? Okay, guys, what stood out to me when I heard this example, and she told it so much better than I did. Her little scenario went on forever. You're not fevered, baby. Go ahead, go lay down. My kid's obsessed with taking his temperature. He's been sick the last few days. All right, so you were in the middle of New York City and you were on this skyscraper and you were looking down and you could feel it. If you were scared of heights like I was, I remember sitting in my seat when she was telling this, and I remember going, oh God, I'm going to be sick, because I literally am so scared of heights to look down and walk over to the edge of a building, right? But how real was that for you right then? All right, you guys need to remember, your dreams are way more real than that little scenario that you just put in your head. That scenario that you just put in your head was so real to you. What if you finished out this month and then you went into 2018 with that same realness of seeing your dreams fulfilled? Because your dreams, whether they happen or they don't, your goals, whether they happen or they don't, your business being successful, whether it's successful or it fails, it's all in your imagination. If you can place yourself in the middle of New York City on the top of a skyscraper, in the middle of a little park setting on top of the building with friends, and walking over to a railing and looking down and seeing snow and seeing the people and seeing the cars, if you can make that real, and you're sitting in your house right now, most likely, or sometimes some of you might be in your car, if you can make that real, why can you not make your dreams and your goals real? When you realize that it's all right here, you guys, it's all mental. Success and failure is all mental. So you have to imagine yourself already successful. I want you guys, when we get off here, to do a little scenario of, and this is something else that I've heard over the last few years, of closing your eyes and imagining yourself walking across that stage and getting that 200K cardboard cutout. Imagine yourself walking across that stage and Paul and Jason saying, congratulations, and your name. Look what you accomplished. You are, a top PPA earner. You are this, you are that. Or, oh my gosh, I even sometimes imagine myself going on Dave Ramsey, and I keep thinking of how bad I needed Dave Ramsey in my life, and him saying, way to go, Nikki, you just paid off 200 and blah, 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 $1,000 in debt in this many months, like he does for so many people, and ringing that bell. I imagine myself paying off debt, and I imagine myself being successful, and I imagine myself logging in on Tuesday and seeing that my check is X amount of dollars, because that's my goal that I want to hit, right? because I want to be able to sock things away and pay off all these things, because I have big plans and I have big goals, and it's not to be snobby and have money and like things like that. Like, I really want to make a difference with that kind of money. So I want you guys to remember that your imagination, your thought process, your belief system, it starts in your head. And then it moves to your heart and your belief. So if you can imagine yourself standing on the top of a building and smelling the smells of the downtown city and seeing the sights of the downtown city, you need to make your dreams and goals that strong in your life. Every day you need to wake up and imagine yourself walking across that stage, or whatever your big goal is. Maybe it's not walking across the stage. Maybe you could care less if you're ever a 200K. Maybe it's making $2,000 a month here or something like that, $500 a week, whatever your goal is. Imagine that already happening and becoming so real. Because I will tell you guys something, it's so true what they say, and it sounds stupid, and I never did it before, but making a dream board and making that very evident and writing your goals down and knowing where you need to go is the biggest part of getting somewhere. I can promise you. It's no different than getting in your car and using your GPS. If you got in your car right now and they said, go to Kalamazoo, I think that's in Missouri. I think it's a real place. Okay. I don't know. I've heard the name before, but I couldn't tell you which way I needed to go. I couldn't tell you which split on the interstate I needed to take. I couldn't even tell you how many hours it's going to take to get there. Right. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know how much gas it's going to take. I don't know how many miles it is or anything like that. But what I do know is I can get on my phone and I can GPS it. And my GPS knows where I'm going because I typed it in. So your goals have to be that big. If you want to be a 40K in the next 2 months, or an 80K or a 200K or a 4K, or just go VIP 800 in the next, 2 weeks if you're brand new, you need to write that down and make that your GPS. Because guys, I'm telling you, I'm a mom of 3 kids. I'm married. I don't have any kind of like leadership, I don't know, training, if you want to say. I am nobody special. I'm not a blogger. I'm not one of these like people that Facebook, like, things don't go viral on my page. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm not that kind of person where it's like I make a post and like 500 people want to join my team. Okay. That's not the way that this has worked. What has worked is over the last 5 years, I've worked my tail off to be consistent and to brand myself and just say, okay, I'm real. I'm a mom. If I can do this, trust me, you guys, you can do it. Cause Lord knows that there's hot mess that goes on in this house all the time. And
I can relate.
Do what?
I said I can relate to that so much.
Exactly. It's just the people that are at the top of this company, and the crazy thing is that we don't even know all the people at the top of this company because they're just so diverse. They're all different ages, all different races, all different belief systems. Some of them took them a hot minute. Some of them took them, the full 5 years.
Most of them, it took a longer time.
Yeah. It's just like, you can't watch somebody else's journey, or, even though, I don't even know, Amanda, I don't even know how many weeks it was, like 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks. I don't even know like how long it took us to go 80K, but I already had a network coming into this. Okay. But my last business, I had no network. All right. So it was literally, and it still is, it's a day by day by day thing, one foot in front of the other. But I really wanted to stress to you guys that no matter where you are right now, no matter why you joined this company, no matter where you came from, no matter what your goals are, I promise you, you can reach them if you self-develop, if you stay plugged in, if every day you do something to be better, if you're consistent and you
know
show
where you're
people,
going.
Yeah, you need to know where you're going, and you show people why they need to be a part of your life and you need to be a part of their life. Okay. And so if you can do those things, your business is going to grow. I promise you. So just remember that New York skyscraper analogy and how powerful that was. And a lot of you can feel that. and so your dreams should be felt too, and your goals should be felt too, because I promise you can go somewhere in this company. I promise you can, because if somebody from food stamps and WIC and about on the brink of foreclosure can, turn their life around and have no previous experience, you can do this. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Nikki. I'm not sure if Jade is on still. Jade, are you here? It's like 12 o'clock in Australia. Or maybe it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Australia. I don't hear her. But let me tell you this. So I want to tell you, here's the thing, guys. Even though I have built a network over the years, I still hit roadblocks. Here is an admission. I have not signed a paying customer or a new promoter that has ordered an upgrade kit. I've signed free customers this month, but I have not signed a single paying customer yet this month. I work my butt off every day. If I thought that it was me, okay, that it was just me and I just walked away, that would be silly, right? I mean, I'm a 200K promoter and my checks are life-changing, and it's been able to, I've been able to give back more to my team. I've been able to give back more to people that I don't even know. I've been able to cross stuff off my dream board this year, which, by the way, I never created a dream board until I finally joined this company. Like, I legit did not create a dream board, okay? And I had heard it, like Nikki said, for years and years and years, but I never had. And guess what, guys? Now I'm like crossing stuff off. I've paid off, back taxes. I've paid off multiple, like 10, almost $15,000 in student loans. And I'm in the middle of remodeling my house. I don't even have my Christmas tree up yet. You know what I mean? And I got to tell you, I do have right now, every day when I get on my phone, I have the Lavelle Millionaires in the background of my phone. Okay. But I got to tell you, honestly, that's not what pushes me. That's not what pushes me. What pushes me is, let me show you. I'm going to show you what pushes me. And it's not what you think. And I'm in this magazine, but what pushes me is seeing my team in this magazine. What pushes me is seeing my team on the cover or in this magazine. What pushes me is seeing them reach their goals at this point. Because, you guys, I can do a lot of things with being at 200K, okay? But the one thing that means the most to me at this point, because I can provide for my family, I've crossed off a lot of those things. I still have bills to pay and debt to pay off and all these things. But what pushes me day in, day out is that I don't want to let anybody down, and I want to see them reach their goals. And you have to find what pushes you. And when you're down, guess what? The people that are around you, they're not going to be messaging you if you are not showing them that you have a path for them, that you have a solution for them. You are going to hit lots of obstacles. You are going to need to grow your network, okay? And I hit a road bump and I realized, holy crap, like, I need to get in front of a new network. I need to get creative. I need to do some different stuff that I haven't done. And, I had, whenever I first started network marketing, that was Instagram for me. And then this time around, I was like, yeah, no, that's not really my forte anymore. It changed a lot, and it's not where I spend most of my time at. Could I go there? Sure. And there's some people, guys, that are killing it on Instagram. But if you are new, or you are just now starting to build your network, or maybe you've been doing this for years, but you still have under 1,000 friends, okay? I want you to think about this. And it's not about how many friends you actually have. It's about the interaction that you have with the people that you have and getting to know people, just like Nikki said, meeting people at her church, meeting people at the pageants. For me, it's been meeting people at my daughter's school, volunteering at her school when I can, the people I used to work with, the people at my daughter's soccer games, softball games, just being a friendly person when I go to the dollar store or the grocery store or at Walmart, or, like Lisa just did that challenge with the scavenger hunt. You guys think outside the box, the people at your dentist office, the people at your eye appointment, the people that you meet everywhere you go. You guys, people know what I do for a living without me ever having to tell them, because they see it. They see me traveling. They see me, maybe I bought a car or whatever, or they see me congratulating one of my friends. They see me talk about my results. They see me, and I don't even have to post the product. I don't even have to you don't have to post the product. You don't have to say the name of the company that you're with. I mean, sure. Do I spurt it out there every now and again? Yeah, of course I do, but not every day. But people still see me consistently, even when I think I'm not being consistent. I made a friend. I spent an hour and a half on the phone today with a friend that I met about a year and a half ago. I don't know how we met. I probably friended her because she's a nurse and she lives in the area that I live in. She's got a teenage daughter. She has a lot of things in common with me. And anyways, she told me her whole story today. Okay. We spent on the phone for about an hour and a half. I really got to know her. I'm really excited for her to be joining me. She's watched me and she told me she sits back and she watches. Okay. And there's a lot of people that are going to do that. Maybe you were one of those people that sat back and you watched. All right. And then you finally got to the place where you're like, I've got to do something. All right. And that's where she was. It's like, she's finally at the place where she wants to do something. And I want you guys to think about that every time that you feel like people aren't responding to you. I want you to ask yourself, how many people are watching me and I don't even know it? That person that needs to pay for their diapers or go to the grocery store, that person that their water bill's about ready to get shut off. Because guys, my water's been shut off before and we've had to go get gallons and to be able to flush the toilet, to then borrow money the next day to be able to go to the water company embarrassingly and have them come turn it back on. I have been there before. Okay, so trust me when I tell you, there are people out there that are. I have collected change and gone and cashed it in. I bought all my presents one year on eBay on a PayPal credit, okay, that I don't know how I even got approved for because my credit was so cracked up. But I want you guys to know that you can do this. And just like Nikki said, envision yourself where you want to be. Maybe that for you is just being able to pay your bills. Maybe that for you is being able to see that smile on your kids' faces for things that you want to be able to give them, but you've not had the money or the resources to give them, to provide for them. It's not about the monetary amount. It's about your time, your freedom, you having less stress. And I can tell you it is one of the things I can tell you is having time freedom and having financial freedom in a sense. I'm not debt free, I'm not debt free yet, but having those things definitely makes stuff a lot less stressful. That doesn't mean there's not any stress. Doesn't mean that life doesn't happen all around us. It means that you actually can pick and choose things, guys, and having options of where you go next or what you do next or how you choose to spend your days. I choose to spend my days working my business, and I love working my business. Right now, I hate doing homework because it's one of those things I felt like I did enough homework, but it's always every night we do flashcards and I'm seeing my daughters grow up. I'm home, my husband's home, and those things are priceless. So I see, going to roll over here real quick. I had a question of how do we know how much sales we need to make a minimum of 200 a week? This is a private message, so some of you guys can't see this, but okay, so here's the thing. every single week, your pay is going to be based off of what you and your team did for that week before. Okay. From Monday till Sunday night at midnight. If your team is plugging in and duplicating and trying to help their team thrive for free, if they're focused on helping their customers thrive for free, if they're focused on signing new customers themselves, your check is going to be broken up in different ways, okay? It's going to be broken up on how many people decided that they were going to order an upgrade kit. So how many fast start bonuses are you going to get? How many of your promoters, if you have your new promoters aiming for VIP 800, then you're going to have fast start guys, because you're going to get fast start bonuses on your promoters as well. It's not going to be as much, but that's going to affect your check. How many customers are ordering on a regular basis? And I can tell you my highest part of my check are two things: check matches and also my unilevel commissions is always the first and most important, and that is my organization. That is on every level. That is the success of my team. So the more successful your team is, and the more successful you are at helping customers, the more successful you're going to be. So yes, you could build a $200 a week extra income by just going out and signing customers and never really buying or building a team. Okay. You absolutely could do that. However, you also can go out and you can see other people become successful, and you can start earning check matches and so forth. So to say, how are you going to make $200 extra a week? I'm going to say that's just going to vary based off productivity of your team. Say you have every single week aim to go VIP 800 and teach your team to do the same thing, and you should be hitting higher than that. You have no team yet, focus on customers. So if you're starting and you have no team yet, then focus on customers. So focus on customers and focus on building your team. But if you have no team, you can't really rely on them, but also focus on helping your customers thrive for free as well. And also, guys, just remember this, even if you don't sign a whole bunch of people right now, I want you to realize that, yes, income tax time is going to be coming. New Year's resolutions are going to be coming. The company is going to lay out something, and 2.0 is coming. So I just want you to understand the magnitude of what's about ready to happen. There is a reason why I'm remodeling my house at Christmas time. Okay. It's because when January 1st hits, it's going to be crazy town. And there is no way I would be able to remodel my house during that time period, because I'm going to be so focused on seeing everybody hit their goals. So with that said, I hope everybody has a wonderful night. I'm sorry that we ended up, anytime that I am leading the Zoom, just know that it's probably going to be a pretty long Zoom because I'm very long-winded. Danny and Nikki, thank you so much both for sharing. And guys, just continue to build your networks. If you don't know what personal development is, because I was on so many Zooms, or not Zooms, but calls, and I didn't really understand what personal development was, go and Google it. Okay, go and Google it, and then just start learning and start teaching yourself certain things about, especially areas that maybe you struggle in. Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's how to stay positive or keep a positive mindset, how to grow my network, how to whatever question it is, go Google it. I promise you, I swear, as a nurse, I tell people don't Google it, but as a network marketing for like somebody that's been in this industry for 5 years, Googling is what taught me how to be a network marketer, to be honest, and also plugging in and being inspired by everybody else along the way. So bye, guys. I hope everybody has a good night, and I hope you got a lot from this. All right, bye.